And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream for Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about semen retention, but we're talking about how and we're talking about how it always gets worse before it gets better with everything in life. It is the masculine way to look at things. It is the most fantastic way to look at things, and I'll explain. I'll start with semen retention though, because it's pretty cool. I've got relationships, health, and finance, and let's go through them. Let's start with relationships. And right now, maybe you haven't started the journey like my other subscribers on my channel, but let's say that semen retention of C, just to observe the benefits and the results that you get from it. If you do that, then what's going to happen? Well, everything is going to get worse before it gets better. That's the normal way to look at things. You have inside your little bubble of masculinity. And in order for you to get to a bigger amount of masculinity, you have to get outside of that bubble. You have to get outside of that comfort zone. And going outside of that comfort zone is uncomfortable. Everything that you want is outside your comfort zone. So what's going to happen immediately after you burst that bubble and go outside the comfort zone that you're in, inside that little masculine, bubble you're in? You're going to be more feminine. You're going to have issues. You're going to have problems. You're going to be unstable. Now, when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like it's working, right? You're feeling like, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. This doesn't feel right, and I think that this is not me, and this is not my cup of tea. And oh no, I should return back into your little shell, right? If you're a turtle, you go back into your shell and you go back where you came from in your little masculine bubble. Instead, you should have gone through that femininity. You go through hell to get to heaven, right? But you do it once, so you don't have to go through hell again and again and again and again for the rest of your life. You choose to go through hell by doing the right things that will take you to heaven. Meaning, on the opposite side of failure, you'll find success. Meaning, on the opposite side of actually voluntarily allowing yourself to be feminine, right? Emotionally unstable for a time so that you can get to the masculine side of things. That's what happens. In the beginning, you're here with, I'm not practicing semen retention, watching porn all the time and having a girlfriend, sleeping around, blah, blah, blah. That's your masculine little bubble. And you're comfortable with it. Fantastic. No, it's not. Because you're ruining your potential. You're not tapping into what God designed for you. And if you want to do that, if you want to tap into your potential, then you've got to make a decision of actually practicing semen retention. And the next step is voluntary celibacy. Now, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be, you're going to be emotionally unstable. The first 30 days of semen retention, it becomes horrific. All right, your emotions are going to be all over the place, and you're going to be like, this is not me. I'm anxious, I have issues, I have relationship problems, and this is happening, and I don't know why I'm thinking like this, and I'm depressed and I'm not depressed, and I'm excited and I'm not excited, and like it's going to be all over the place. You're going to be a girl basically the first 30 days, which is okay. It's fantastic. Embrace the journey. It's only 30 days, but those 30 days will get you to the other side. And once you're on the other side, once you've gotten to 30 days, pretty much for most people, you'll be able to enter into a masculine state of non-need. And your emotions are going to be stable. So it got worse, but it got better. And it got better within 30 days. And once you're on that better streak, 30 to 90 days is so easy, guys. It's ridiculous. It's simply about getting past those first 30 days. That's a problem. But once you do it, hey, you went through hell to get to heaven. But it doesn't really become heaven before after 90 days. So keep going towards that goal. Let's see. 1 month semen retention. Thanks for lockdown, home quarantine. Fantastic, Michael. Hey, Leo, the German Shepherd. So what we're trying to do now is practice semen retention so that it becomes easy to practice voluntary celibacy, because you get that amazing combo that I've spoken about the last couple of days of having no need for sex, but you have a desire for sex. But since you have that desire and no need, you can make the decision to actually use that desire to achieve your goals instead of trying to find a girlfriend and trying to sleep around, trying to basically, do the things that everyone else does. You instead become a voluntary celibacy. And have you heard the saying that in order for you to not willing to do, this is it. Voluntary celibacy is something that less than 5% of the male population or less are willing to do. Most guys are involuntary celibates. No, you're voluntary celibate. Become part of the few that do the hard thing. That's the hard thing. Involuntary celibate, if you just stay in that circumstance and you watch porn, you masturbate for the rest of your life, now that's hell forever. But if you manage to get out of it, gets worse before it gets better, you practice semen retention, you avoid porn, and you manage to avoid women as well temporarily for a short period of time, you're going to enter into exponential growth curve for your ambitions, for you being fired up and excited about your life and being happy, and you being able to tap into the correct aspects of life, which is basically for 99.9% of everyone out there, is setting up your financials once and for all so that it's taken care of and you never have to think about it again unless you want to. And I highly encourage for you to want to. And if you're on semen retention, trust me, you'll want to. Okay? You want to work for the rest of your life. That's what's so cool about this. That's what's so awesome about semen retention. You'll want to work. You'll want to work your brains off forever. Do you understand what happens once you understand the game and you work 12 hours a day? Whoa. In the beginning of your life, you don't understand anything about business. You don't understand anything about people, so most of the things that you do fails. And it sucks. Right? But it's your hell before you get to heaven. But imagine if you're in heaven and you're in business heaven, you've got all this money that can be invested, you've got all this knowledge, you've got this entire 15 years, whatever. Do you understand the exponential growth that can happen once you've arrived there? Once you've set up your life properly with the right financial foundation, the exponential growth curve that comes after that is insane. The only problem is the first few years. That's why I highly recommend people to never, ever go to college, because there's always going to be a 5-year education process to everything, right? The book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell talks about how you need to invest 10,000 hours in a skill. And if you do that, you're going to be elite in the world, okay, in that skill. Okay, you're not going to be like, top millions. You're going to be like the top. If you invest 10,000 hours, you're going to be absolutely amazing at that skill. Well, 10,000 hours is 8 hours a day for 5 years, basically, right? Basically a full-time job. If you do a full-time job for 5 years, you're going to be a master at it. That's what I recommend, is you tapping into business immediately as your education. And you can actually start businesses these days without having to take a loan, without having investment. You don't need money to start a business. It's so ridiculous when people tell me that. I'm like, bro, all the businesses that I've started was without cash. I didn't have cash. I did start some businesses with loans. That was the most stupid thing I ever did. But I managed to get things going. Now, eventually, once you understand the game, then yeah, of course, you should tap into loans, because it's a great way to grow faster, and especially if it's other people's money, as we talk about with Robert Kiyosaki. But anyway, the whole point is allow yourself to fail in business for 5 years instead of failing in school for 5 years, or getting better at academics, which won't even help you to get it. Like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. Anyway, did it help your hair growth or thinning hair? To be honest with you, personally, with me, with the hair growth, it hasn't really done much. It's hair grow back. There's some guys that experience hair growth or hair growth back, instead of thinning. For me, I've kept my hair kind of. You see the lines there. So, but imagine if I was not on semen retention, it could have been a lot worse. So I don't know. So that's why I don't talk a lot about that on my channel. You won't see any hair thinning videos on my channel, because I don't know. With me, I have no idea if it's actually helped with my hair. And I want to be transparent, so I want to be honest. So there you go. So taking it to the next level in terms of relationships, we'll get to health and financials, even though I've actually spoken about that a little bit. But anyway, relationships with 3 girls in love. Okay. In the beginning, since you don't understand 3 girls in love, since you like, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Once you establish 3 girls in love, there's going to be issues, right? But it's in the beginning. But anyway, we can do that another time. But the whole point is, gets worse before it gets better. When it comes to your health, let's say you fall asleep at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Is that wise for your long-term business? No, it's not. And it's bad for your health, and it's bad for your productivity, because your testosterone is at its optimal rate in the morning. I woke up this morning at 5:30 and I was like, should I go back to bed, because I put the alarm clock for 6 o'clock, and I was like, nah, man, I'm fired up. I want to get started. And so I basically started my day at 5:30 this morning, being excited and fired up about life. Can you say that? Can you say that you wake up at 5:30 and you're fired up to start the day? Probably not. That's why it's critical that you go to bed early. Your body needs 8 hours of sleep. So if you're going to feel excited and fired up about getting up at 5:30, guess what you have to do? You have to wake up you have to go to sleep at 9:30. That's the only way to be fired up and excited about about waking up at 5:30. Did I go to bed at 9:30 yesterday? No, I went to bed at 10:30, but 10:30, man, it's not that bad. It's the hours before midnight that counts. But if you manage to get several hours before midnight, oh my gosh. The only time, okay, this was my favorite time in my marriage, was when I was single. When my wife was in America 5 years, and I got a prolonged state of being single. Man, I was fired up outside my brain. If you guys haven't seen my videos from that time span, this was approximately from between March and August, between March and August last year. If you go through those videos, you'll see me fired up outside my brain about being single. Okay, I've been married for 10 years. And basically being single as a voluntary celibate on semen retention, 100 plus days. And I went to bed at 8:30 most of that time. I went to bed at 8:30 and I woke up at 4:30 a lot of those days. No one else awake. It was summertime. I went out jumping ropes. Man, it was amazing. But it got worse before it got better, because if you wake up at 4:30 or 5:30 in the beginning, you're going to get tired earlier during the nighttime. So it's a combination of waking up early despite what happens, and you're going to be sleepy throughout the day, and you're going to feel like you need a lot of coffee, and you're going to feel like horrific for the first few days, but you're going to be so tired at night that you're actually going to sleep early, which is going to create the process that you want to create, which is that you actually are able to be excited and fired up early in the morning when no one else is awake. It's almost as if the universe allows all focus and energy to be given to you. It's like the creative energy is like, hey, you're the only one awake around. Okay, like, yeah, there's people awake on the other side of the planet, but here it's only you. So here's creativity, here's inspiration, here's motivation, here's everything. That's what happens when you wake up before everyone else wakes up. So let's see. Let's answer some questions. Just got out of a 2-year relationship. Any tips on healing and working on myself? Absolutely. Make a decision that you're not going to go into a relationship again before you've got a lot of money. $100,000 net worth. Okay. If you manage to get there, then contact me and I'll help you with 3 girls in love. The best way to get out of your 2-year relationship, to be honest, is to recognize that monogamy sucks. Monogamy will always suck. Okay, watch my videos on that. Basically, monogamy causes you as a man to love the woman more than she loves you. And it happens every time because she doesn't really want sexual matters with you if you want it more than her. And that's the natural progression of things. We as men want it more than women do. It's built in us, it's inherent. Except if she's in her right conditions, in the right environment. That right environment is 3 girls in love. Okay, like it's exponential how much her desire grows for sex in 3 girls in love. But when in monogamy, it gets bad, man. So if you've been in a 2-year relationship, what I recommend for you is to understand that, first of all, it was you who sucked. That's why she dumped you, right? And second of all, is realizing that it wasn't your fault necessarily that the relationship sucked or that you sucked. It was simply monogamy. And if you blame monogamy, then you begin to look to the future and say, whoa, 3 girls in love. Are you kidding me? You can have 3 women and they actually live in harmony with each other and you can cohabit and create a family out of that if you understand the woman? Absolutely. When you understand that, it's still going to take some time for you to get over your girlfriend because you had sex with her. That's the stupidest thing you can do with a girl that you're not sure if you're going to be able to keep long term. And if you enter into a monogamous relationship, it's going to be tricky. It's very few men who manage to retain women outside of marriage if they're in a monogamous relationship. Very few. Most of the time, the girl will dump his ass. So you've got to realize, I understand the woman, okay? Once you start understanding these concepts here, you got Men of High Value channel. I talk a little bit about relationships, not much. But where I talk about relationships is the Girls of High Value channel. Okay, Girls of High Value, I mention everything there. Understand the woman and you will understand the world and you'll understand why you got dumped. And so yeah, I hope that helps a little bit. Basit. Let's see. It's a great outlook, man. Thank you. Joseph, what if you love one girl more than the other 2? Would it be just a relationship? Obviously, you have not been in a 3 girls in love relationship because you wouldn't say that. If you are masculine, okay, understand, femininity loves one person at all, and that's the only person I sexually worship. Okay, that's monogamy and that's femininity. Women were designed to only love one man, and if they're in their feminine nature, they're only going to love one man. But if they're masculine, they're going to want several partners. If you are masculine, you're able to categorize the women and make a decision that you're going to love them equally. It's a decision. Okay, if you favoritize, that's going to create issues in that type of relationship. Make everything equal and everything's going to work. You have motivation to keep everything equal in 3 girls in love relationship, because if you don't, it's going to be destroyed. They're going to leave you. They're going to have issues with each other and it's not going to work out. But if you take the blame, take the responsibility that I'm going to make sure that I love them equally because that's the only way that they can have harmony with each other, then that doesn't become a problem. Does that make sense? Mahmoud Ashfaq. Yeah, man, I remember you. You're the boxer, right? Joseph, what if you, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Mantak Chia, sharpening the knife. Some thoughts on Tao Tantric Sex. I'm not talking about Tao or Tantric Sex right now. I'm not talking about Koretsa. I'm not talking about all those stuff. I know about that stuff, but it's not interesting to me right now. Semen retention, voluntary celibacy, and then setting up the dream of 3 girls in love. In 3 girls in love, you will practice ejaculation control, which will allow you to have massive confidence in the bedroom and be able to do the things that you've always wanted to do, but that you're not able to do in your femininity. Because when you're feminine in the bedroom, it sucks. If you're feminine, you're going to have premature ejaculation issues. Why? Because you're going to be in the fight or flight response. You're going to be anxious. What if she doesn't like me? Oh, is this the right thing to do? And oh, she doesn't like this. Oh, and then she's monogamy sucks. But not only monogamy, but femininity in men sucks because you begin to have issues in the bedroom. Okay, so let's forget about Tao and Tantric sex for a while, because I'm going to explain all of that stuff eventually if we manage to get through the stuff that we need to get done. Understand also that femininity is all about sexuality. Femininity is all about sexuality, meaning the more feminine you are, the more you think about sex. The more you think about, oh, imagine sex with a girl, and you can't get your mind off of sex. That's not a good place to be. You need to be able to get away from that because you want women to be there. You've reversed roles. You're the one who's thinking a lot about sex when you're feminine, and the woman doesn't think about it at all. She like basically goes on her way and does her life, and she's becoming more and more masculine over time, and that's going to make her think less and less about sex. Is that what you want? Really? No, we want to reverse roles again so that we as men don't think about sex all the time, and we allow women to inherit that role. Because that's what they did in their youth, in their teenage years when they were virgins. That's the only thing they could think about. Oh, sex, 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 sex. Oh, I want to have sex. And then horrific guys who didn't know better in their teenage years basically have sex with the girls, and then the girls are like, oh, it wasn't what I thought it would be. Oh, that sucks. And then sex has pretty much been ruined a little bit, and then they try to figure out, well, maybe it's just the wrong guy. And then they try with another guy. Oh, wasn't that good. And then they try with another guy, and then eventually she might find one guy who's actually pretty good because he's got experience. And once she's in that relationship, since he's got experience, since he's got power, he's like, I should have multiple girlfriends. And then he has multiple, and then he ends up leaving her if she gives him problems, which is what happens normally, right? A guy's like, I don't want to be with her anymore because she's just giving me a hard time. And then he moves on, and she is now emotionally dead. That's what happens. She now pines for this guy for the rest of her life. Now, you might look at it and like, well, I kind of like it if a lot of girls pine for me for the rest of my life. You're destroying families. You're basically being a homewrecker when you're having casual sexual relationships with girls and leaving them behind when they fall in love with you. Their next generations, their future husbands are going to suffer from it. There's probably going to be a divorce because of you. Well, it's not all my fault. There were several guys sleeping with her. Yeah, but those guys, she probably left them. If you are the guy who leaves the girl, oh my gosh, you're the one who created the problem. Except for the issue right now is that there's a lot of guys who leave girls. So you end up, they become basically mentally unstable. They're not able to get married, and if they do get married, they have kids, and those kids are going to suffer because of what happened. Women were designed for sexual relationships only with one man for life. That's how she's designed. If she has sex with more than one man, she ends up risking having sex with the guy that leaves her behind. And if that happens, she's going to pine for him for the rest of her life anytime that she's not enjoying the now. She's going to look back and like, oh, I wish he would come back. And then she tries to get him back sometimes if he's not already married, because then she believes that she's going to get rejected. And then, but anyway, this is a waste of time, guys. Yeah, I know I'm speaking facts. I've been studying this stuff for 10 freaking years. Why do you think I'm tired of talking about it? Like, this sucks. Okay, this is why society is the way today. We blame women, right? I just made a video today about on the Girls of High Value channel. I'm going to publish it tomorrow, and it's about blame. How the only way that women stay feminine is if they blame men, which they do. But understand that this is because if you blame someone, you're basically absolving yourself of responsibility. It wasn't my fault. It was her, right? And for her, it was him. And then you basically fight because you blame each other. But understand that a leader takes the blame, takes the responsibility, and understand that it was actually him who caused it. Men are the problem, right? No, women are the problem, but men are the solution, okay? Women are going to blame for the rest of their lives. Understand that. And if we as men remain in our femininity by blaming women, then we're also going to remain the same, because we're not going to change and improve if we blame her, right? Because then, well, when are you going to change, girl? You know, it doesn't work like that, because she's not going to change. And maybe she will try, but that's going to make her more masculine and going the opposite direction of what her future relationship needed to work. If she becomes more masculine, her relationships are going to suck. If she remains in her femininity, however, if she's allowed to blame you, then she's going to remain in her femininity. And that's why monogamy doesn't work, because a man cannot take the blame in monogamy and still remain high value. So much things I can say about this. But yeah, basically, 3 Girls in Love is where it's at. That's going to help you to overcome any issues with girls in the future, because you're voluntary celibate until women gather and create those 3, and you can have harmony with them forever. Use that as a motivation, but we're not going to talk about it right now anyway. Let's go. I'm interested in career developing. Awesome. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that. Much love, free man. I have 5 fights now, getting closer to my dreams every day. Yeah, have you won all of your fights since you started Semen Retention? Have you managed to stay on Semen Retention, Mahmoud? Please listen, follow that Joseph saying, gentlemen, pay attention. Thank you, Sar. You know what I'm talking about more than anyone. Chase your dreams and stay on your purpose. The women will come. Absolutely. That's why these women are saying men ain't shit. What is your opinion about finding your dream job? Too many fuckboys. So much wisdom. Love you, man. Bro, I could go on forever, okay? The clients that actually pay me to be their coach, oh my gosh. Do you understand how much Luista knows about the woman and knows about 3 Girls in Love and knows about the world because he has me as a coach? It is insane, okay? Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, 341 days of Semen Retention. Fantastic, Ahmed. And so let's talk about career for a second. First of all, are you allowing yourself to be led? Remember the 5 phases of leadership? Allowing yourself to be led, lead yourself, lead others, lead women, lead kids. Lead women, lead kids. We've talked about that now. We're not going to go in there. So what does that mean? Well, it means we got to allow yourself to be led. That's femininity. Remember going through hell to get to heaven? That's the hell you got to go through. As masculine men, we believe we can just skip step number 1 and go to 2, which is lead yourself. You can't, okay? You can, but it's going to take you so much longer time, and you don't have time. If there's something that you don't have, it's time. If you're young, you'll be like, well, I've got all the time in the world. Why are you wasting it then? Like, if you have all the time in the world, then why aren't you actually using it to exponentially grow? Allow yourself to be led. What does that mean? It means that you get your mentor and you're willing to pay for him. That's one of the things I recommend to do. Yes, I'm a coach. Yes, I can coach you. Yes, it costs money. But set up a free consultation with me. Comment down below. Send me a message on @men-of-high-value on Instagram. I'll reply. I reply within a few minutes, as long as I'm not sleeping. So that's the one aspect. But I don't have any money. If you don't have any money, learn a skill. Learn a valuable skill. Allow yourself to be led by working for free. That's the most important thing I can say to you guys today, I believe. Are you willing to work for free for the right people? Because if you're able to work for free and you're willing to do something for free over a long period of time, because you know that the thing that I'm doing right now, I will need for the rest of my life. If you are willing to work for free, because femininity is not allowed, it hates to work for free. Femininity doesn't want to work for free. They want to be massively rewarded immediately for the things that they do, because they don't really want to take responsibility. Masculinity understands that there's a long life ahead, and that taking 1 year, 2 years, 5 years of working for free, as long as you're working for free in something that's going to give you exponential freedom, That's where it's at. So how do you work for free? Well, find a mentor, find a master in the thing that you want to become a master at, and say, I'm willing to work for free. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to allow myself to be led. I'm not going to let my ego stand in the way. Lead me to the land of my dreams, and I'm going to do everything that you tell me to do. And if it doesn't work after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, I don't care, because I know eventually it's going to work. There's some people that have a lot of emotional baggage from their childhood. Several of my clients have it. Actually, all of my clients have it. But some have it worse than others. And that's why we don't succeed with them. Okay, that's why I struggle with them as well. Like, yes, I have clients that I sometimes struggle with because they're so deeply ingrained in their femininity, mixed with their masculinity of not wanting to listen, not wanting to be led, not wanting to actually understand what their real problem is. And then their femininity, which is basically scared, and I don't want to show myself, and I care what other people think, and blah, blah, blah. And then I basically repeat myself. I have to continuously repeat myself and say, do this, do this, do this. No, I'm not sure, and I'm not ready for that. And I guess we're just going to wait then. I know that this is your next step, but you're not willing to take the next step. Do you understand what I mean? Allow yourself to be led, but really allow yourself to be led. Be masculine about allowing yourself to be led. Be masculine about being feminine for a time in order for you to become exponentially masculine in the long run, if that makes sense. And that's like using the boxer Mahmoud as an example. Man, if he listens to mentors, and he only has a few mentors, it's critical that you don't have 20 mentors, because they're going to tell you different things. The commitment to the strategy is more important than the strategy. So you being committed to the strategy that's basically laid out for you is more important than the actual strategy. As long as you know what the dream is, what you want to accomplish, and that's specific, that's set in stone, but I don't care how I get there, as long as I get there, then the commitment is what's most important, if that makes sense. So I've been on for quite some time. If you still have questions, comment down below still. But the whole point of this was basically explaining that it gets worse before it gets better. And if you understand that, embrace the worse before it gets better. Okay? Embrace it. It's horrific, right? Going back to semen retention, the first 30 days, it's absolutely horrible. That's why most people quit. I had a 40-year-old who's quite masculine. He's been on the Hungarian national team in athletics, something, whatever. He commented on one of my old videos, and he said, I'm kind of masculine. I ejaculate 3 to 4 times a week, and I don't have any issues, and I think this is optimal. And I'm like, bro, imagine how absolutely amazing you would have been if you had practiced semen retention on that. You would have been the guy. Everyone would have known you, right? Because his videos were actually quite amazing. Like, it's insane how good he would have been if he had practiced semen retention. But he's saying, yeah, I believe that there's an optimum frequency of 3 to 4 times a week for me, and I'm happy with that. And I'm like, sure, that's fine. But he's not allowing himself to be led. And he said, I tried it one time and I lasted for 3 weeks and it didn't really do much for me. 3 weeks? What happens? 4 weeks. You got to get past 30 days of semen retention for you to actually, you might not even see results in the first 30 days. You got to get to 90 days. And you're going to be able to have the emotional stability and be able to push yourself despite despite the emotions, right? That's what masculinity is, doing something despite how you feel about it. So let's see. People these days want the result and don't invest in the process and confront the 2 keys of success: sacrifice and suffering. Yes. You got to love the suffering, love the discipline, love the focus, love the intensity of it all. Don't you think that the times I've been watching the first 2 episodes on Netflix of Michael Jordan, man, those things inspire you, man. The Last Dance, that's what it's called. And he at one game in the playoffs against Indiana Pacers, he scored 61 points, and just 3 or 4 days before, he'd scored 49 points. After that second game, man, he was exhausted. All right, discipline. Understand discipline. There's no other guy. There's very few guys that understand that game. But the more masculine you become, the more fired up about problems you become, and that's where we want to get you guys. How can we use coronavirus time to our best advantage? Watch my videos on marathon, man, and focus on the things that you believe you need. Okay, make sure you use a free consultation with me to understand maybe specifically what can be tailored to you, because there's a lot of like, if I say a general thing right now, it might not be the right thing for you, but have that free consultation. But otherwise, in general, use the coronavirus time to set up your habits now. Habits. Meaning, you don't want to be watching porn. You don't want to be watching movies all day long. Okay, even an hour and a half, I think, is too much. If you watch 30 minutes or 45 minutes in the night as a reward for having worked 10 to 12 hours that day, okay, it's fine. But use it as a reward, not as the de facto thing you do because you're waiting things out. That makes sense? You want to be working 8 to 10 to 12 hours every single day. Set up your habit of going to bed at 8:30 at night and wake up at 4:30 if you want to do that. It's going to be difficult, but you've got the corona time now where it gets worse before it gets better. Don't take any naps during the day, because that's going to ruin everything if you want to set that up. But if you don't want to do 4:30, then do 5:30 or 6:30, but don't get up later than 6:30, man. Come on. Like, seriously, 6:30 is an absolute deadline, which means that you have to go to bed before 10:30 at night. I would say that's the most important thing you can do in the coronavirus time, because waking up at 6:30, you're kind of sitting there and you're like, what should I be doing? Plan your life. Plan how it's supposed to look like. Put 3 Girls in Love in there in that plan. Put your business goals in that plan, exponential plan, and then maximum spend 1 hour on planning. You don't need more than that to plan your future, to plan your day, to plan everything. If you plan to fail, no, wait, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So you gotta plan, and then you've got to read. But then remember this is not part of the 8 to 10 to 12 hours of work. Planning and studying is not part of the 8 to 10, 12 hours of work. The 8 to 10, 12 hours of work that you want to build yourself up towards, in the beginning, maybe you can only do 2 hours of work because you haven't worked for years. There's a lot of guys on welfare that haven't worked for years. Build yourself up to 8 to 10, 12 hours of service. Service. When you're in the service of your fellow man, you're only in the service of your God. Service. Meaning, sales. You need to reach out every single day to offer something to someone. If you're not doing that, you're not progressing. You're not becoming more masculine. Reach outs every single day in order for you to attain your goals. Even if your goal is to become a professional soccer player, and I hope that you don't have that as a goal. Let me use another example. Hold on. No matter what aspect you want to become successful in, you have to have a network of people and supply value to those networks of people in order to, in the end, get what you want. Does that make sense? So reaching out and then providing value for the people that you're reaching out to that actually are contacting you back is the most important thing you can do in these coronavirus time. It takes an hour to reach out to 50 people with the DMs on Instagram. It takes, what if you get blocked? Figure out a way to get around that. Build up your profile. Build up everything. Reach out to 100 people if you can. And if you can't, if you've done 100 there on Instagram, reaching out, then contact another 100 on Facebook. Do you understand that if you don't know what you're going to do long term, then you're basically just sowing your wild seeds and wild oats, whatever, for no purpose. But there is a purpose, because if you start doing the reaching out to 100 people every single day, you'll eventually get to the point of, I need something to give to them of value. Okay, it's like it doesn't work if I don't have anything of value to give them. That's the point. Figure out what value you want to bring to the world and serve the world, man. 8 to 10 to 12 hours of service. And if you don't know squat about anything, you've got no skills, then spend 8 to 10 to 12 hours, after you've done 50 to 100 reach outs, to develop a skill. Get good at something that you believe is evergreen, meaning that it's going to work in the financial crisis time or a non-financial crisis time. It's continuous. Some of those skills are sales and marketing, digital marketing, developing an audience on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, other platforms, becoming really good at like tech stuff, right? If you learn how to code, an app or code on applications online with web, if you learn how to make websites, if you learn how to do different things, that's going to be valuable for people that are rich. If you manage to develop value in yourself and skills that other people need, you're going to take care of your money forever. And don't do it in mind of, this is what I'm going to do forever, the skill. Except for sales and marketing. That's what you're going to do forever, no matter what thing you're going to be doing. But other than that, if you develop a technical skill or a skill that basically employees normally do, then learn that skill in order for you to become good at it, develop proficiency in a way that other people are like, wow, this guy's amazing. But with the long-term view in mind of, I want to build a business around this skill. Yes, I might get a job with it, but the long-term goal, 5 to 10 year goal, is to have a business where I rule, where I am the leader, I employ people, and I help them to develop clients, right? You do sales and marketing, and then you connect with the people that you understand well, because you understand their craft and their technicalities. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, then go back one more time, listen through this video. It's very few people that listen to a live stream. Again, I understand why, but there's some things that need to be repeated and put in your brain again and again and again and again. Just like with books. Don't read 100 books. Read a book 100 times or 50 times or at least 20 times, because then you really understand that book. And do it in something that's one of the best books in the world when it comes to financials or leadership, because those two things you're going to need for the rest of your life: leadership, people skills, financials, and money. Because if you've read that book 100 times, 50 times, or at least 20 times, that's more important than 100 books or 20 books or 50 books, because it's going to help you to get it. I get it now, and now I'm applying. I'm sick and tired of theory. Get sick and tired of theory so that you take action in your life. Same thing with these videos that I do on this channel. If you don't get it, if you don't understand, why does he say that? Ask questions, right? You can ask as many questions as you want. I'm live. And go through more and more and more of my videos and listen to them again and again and again and again until you get it. Because once you get it, you've got the secret for life. And don't get married. All right, let's see. Thank you for spreading the word literally every day. Well, it's every other day, but thanks. How did you feel on days 30 to 45? Because that's usually the time that flatline happens for me. That flatline happens for everyone at 30 to 45 days. Everyone your sexual energy is supposed to go down during 30 to 45 days, because you want to have control over it. If your sexual desire is all the time, like your 30-day period in the beginning, then that's going to put you in fight or flight response still in 30 to 45 days. You don't want that. You want a flat line so that you can control your emotions. I don't really want sex. I don't really want to ejaculate. I don't really want to watch porn. I don't want all of that. Just get it away from me. Good. Awesome. That's what we want. Because now you can focus on habits. You can focus on discipline. You can focus on getting your life in order, which is really hard because it's a flat line. There's no motivation, whatever. But that's the time you need to tap into it. That's the time you need to set up the habits. So get past 90 days, man. No shortcut, guys. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Question: why do other males try to challenge you when retaining? Is it because they themselves are doing it, or they feel challenged by the energy? they don't want to change. They don't want to stop ejaculating. So if you say that, guys, you guys should stop ejaculating, understand that the polarities when you're talking to two people. If you are fired up and excited about something, their job is to not be fired up about it. That's people in general. Okay, it's not a phenomenon of why aren't they interested in semen retention. Anytime you're fired up about something, they're going to be reserved or very skeptical and critical about it. Fortunately, that's how the universe works, or else everyone would be excited about everything all of the time, which is not conducive to long-term growth. So you need to have critical thinking on the opposite side, and that's why people are against semen retention. But you don't badger them about it all over again and again and again and again, because then they're going to criticize it again and again and again and again, which might be a good thing because that makes you more determined, unless you collapse and falter and submit to their thinking. And if you submit to them, then you basically get the same lifestyle that they have, which I don't recommend. I'm about to complete first 30 days. This month sucked. Being indoors all day didn't help either. Good job for getting 30 days during this time, though. That's awesome. His energy, though, it's always a good vibe. Semen retention helps you push through pain. Absolutely. Porn destructive. Yo, seriously. I know. It does, especially with ex relationships. I'm on day 26. I'm on day 20 and feel all the benefits. Feel energized every day, especially mornings. Bro, don't you just love those morning woods, man? TMI, man, but seriously, it's awesome. You wake up feeling virile. Is that the word? You're feeling excited about life. Anyway, keep pushing, brother. Joy's much better in the long run. Absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, at this point, this whole situation makes retaining easier. I'm still on day 20 though. Wait till I hit 30. Yeah, but around 90 days, you're going to have that golden sack, bruv. Trust, especially in the 130 mark, you become a magnet. Yeah. And hopefully we're talking about magnet for financials, not just women here. Facts, appreciate it, man. Say something about orgasm without ejaculation. Why? Why do you want it? Why should we talk about that now? You're going to have it eventually with 3 Girls in Love. Stop thinking about sex, guys. It's a waste of time. It's a waste. Other than motivation, right? One day in the future, I'll have sex. Think like that. Okay? Think like, I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to set up my financial foundation of 100K in net worth, US dollars at least, before the hyperinflation started, because that's going to start in the future. Understand that, set up your financial foundation. In 2 years, 5 years, 10 years time, I'm going to have sex. That's it. That will fire you up, motivate you beyond belief. But understand that you can't be thinking about it every day if you're going to have it in 10 years' time or 2 years' time. You need to take action right now in order to make that dream a reality. Don't reward yourself too soon. Having sex or watching porn, if you're not in a long-term committed relationship with 3 Girls in Love, is a waste of your motivation potential. Tap into it. How to Win Friends and Influence People is absolutely fantastic. I recommend that book to be read 20 to 50 times. Absolutely, man. Anyone heard about Bob Proctor? Yeah, he's amazing. What about NoFap Easy Mode? Only no porn. No. NoFap Easy Mode is a joke. Really? Yes. I mean, you will get results. Yes, because you're basically practicing semen retention. You're getting out there. Your life is improving. So let's say your life is improving 50% or 100%. Great. Imagine how much your life can improve if you stay away from girls completely romantically, other than, seeing their face once in a while, which will fire you up, and then go and get the financials. Do you understand? Man, these girls are hot, man. And you know that guys are going to have sex with them, and you're like, man, I want that, but I want it long term, and I want them together with 3, not just 1, because I know that relationship is going to suck in the long run. One of us are either going to break up, or we're going to be pretty much emotionally divorced throughout our marriage after a lot of hard work and trying to make things work in our relationship. What a waste of time. Women suck when you don't understand them. And if you believe that monogamy works, you don't understand women. So stay away from sex, stay away from the women, and start focusing on your purpose, focusing on your financials and getting things set up right once. Okay? You don't have to keep doing it all forever. You don't have to be voluntary celibate forever. You don't have to be without women forever. This is just a small temporary time we're talking about here for you to have joy forever. You just have to set up your financials once. That's it. Learn the skills, become valuable to the marketplace, and then allow the marketplace to reward you for it by charging them eventually. You don't have to charge them in the beginning because you don't have any value in the beginning very often. But if you've got value, then connect with me as your coach, and I'm going to help you to super speed that process so you can get it early, right? Luista's 23, and he's fired up outside his brain about the long term. And I've only been coaching him for 10 months, and he loves it. And he's going to stick around because I'm getting him results and I'm helping him to tap into every category of life and setting up his financials the right way from the get-go. Luaista, if you haven't checked him out, go on at Luaista, Louaista on Instagram. Other than that, I've got 3 other absolutely amazing clients. You guys can check them out as well. Iljury, Iljury, on YouTube. He's a German rapper. He wants to become a rapper. He's in the beginning. He's 20 years old. He's absolutely awesome. Jury. Check him out. Subscribe. And I also have Havaselet Capital. Havaselet, Zealot with a Z. Capital. He's on YouTube and on Instagram. He's going fast, man, and he's gonna be massive masculine over time. He's building an investment channel. He's got masculinity there. I'm fired up outside my brain for him. And also I've got Ronnie Kenyatta, which is RK Strength Training on Instagram. I'm gonna put all the links down below so you guys can check them out because they're amazing and they're gonna do amazing things over time. Let's see. Hard mode is the best mode. Easy mode is for sissies. Laser focus. I feel like a beast every time. Magnet. Yes, sir. What's meaning of sissy? Sissy is a feminine, emotional soy boy. Tell me, do you want to be that or do you want to be a masculine man? I'm insecure being circumcised. Please give me your opinion. Bro, don't worry about it. That's not a problem. I'm just asking for security. For curiosity, bro, I'm on day 23 normal. By the way, most American guys are circumcised. There's no problem with it, none so ever, and don't make it a problem. Let's see. I'm being, yeah, semen retention is not a challenge. It's a lifestyle. Absolutely. Sensitivity is lost, as I heard. Bro, there's tons of people that are not circumcised that, yeah, no. Sensitivity is lost. Come on, man. It's not lost. If sensitivity was lost, then you would never, ever ejaculate. But you do ejaculate. So it's not lost. You can enjoy sex. And by the way, sexual relationships with women, it's more fun when they're having pleasure. And that's really, in the long run, what matters. But you're going to have pleasure too. Trust me. Don't worry about it. On no-fuck monk mode for the next 5 years, but I'm insecure about being circumcised. Bro, like I said, femininity is being focused on your shortcomings. It's not even a shortcoming, but masculinity is getting over that and simply living your life and setting goals. You can't change what you can't change, right? And until now, I believe that there are ways to actually grow it back, but that's not the point right now. The point is actually for you to stay on point with your financials and to stay away from women. Joseph, what do you think about Nootropics? I don't know what Nootropics is. So anyway, fantastic session, guys. I've been here for a very long time. I love sharing this knowledge with you. I hope you apply it. You guys can be 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more successful than I am. I'm basically the small itty bitty coach that helps the guy, in the boxing ring to become a champion. And I can do that for you. I don't look masculine. I don't have all of the things that I want to have. But man, if you apply the things that I share with you, your life will transform very, very quickly. And when I say very quickly, it might take you 6 months. It might take you a year. It might take you 18 months or more. But that's quick exponential growth, because understand that it's all about the percentage increase, right? A 1% improvement is good, But imagine having 10% improvement or 100% improvement every year. The doubling of yourself every year will make you a trillionaire in the long run, if you actually stay with the process and keep doing what I'm telling you to do on this channel. That's what's possible. And if you don't become a trillionaire, you at least become a billionaire. It's impossible for you not to become a billionaire if you apply the things that I share on this channel, because I don't want to be mediocre. I don't want anyone to be mediocre who follows me. I want them to take the next step. And in order for them to do that, to get to that exponential growth curve, the foundation needs to be laid. And that's what I'm basically giving you guys. I'm giving you the mental breakdown, okay, the positive mental breakdown of how the foundation needs to be laid for the financial exponential growth to happen. If you don't have the foundation of emotional stability and masculinity and understanding masculinity and femininity to the core, and understanding motivation and what you want and all those things that I'm talking about, then you're going to maybe get success, but then you're going to collapse and get demotivated and depressed. If you understand my philosophies, you can never, ever be depressed. And if you are depressed, it'll take you 1 day or 2 days and you're over it. You'll never, ever experience depression long term or over a month or over 3 months. It's going to be like a quick thing of like you getting the flu 1 day and then you're ready to go again. You're fired up outside your brain. That's how you want to live your life, excited outside your brain. And following these things, I can promise you, will set you up for making things happen. How to stop OCD. Sometimes I feel like relapsing when I slip up. Obsessive compulsion disorder is a label that someone has put on you in your childhood. Understand that you are free from that. That's the last thing I'm going to mention today. Don't label yourself with something that other people have labeled you as. You decide who you are. Anyone, okay, you can look at all the amazing billionaires in the world, and they've overcome insecurity issues, anxiety issues, obsessive compulsive disorder issues. Actually, OCD is one of the best things to have. Grant Cardone has it. There's no labels, okay? Don't label yourself. But if you're obsessive about financials and that becomes the motivating factor, the thing that you think about all of the time, not because of the money, but because of who you become in the process, man, you're going to be amazing. This is the Men of High Value channel. I'm out. I'll see you again in the next one.